This is a way for those businesses that are a little bit concerned about doing financing on their own or becoming the bank. This is kind of a step to be able to handle collections. This is the main thing that I would say to use in order to be able to collect. And let me kind of explain it this way. If you have a product or service that you sold, and let's say that you had them pay or the payment was declined or something, but somehow they ended up with stuff, you end up needing to be paid, but you can't get paid. So you end up submitting the payment over and over again, trying to collect on this bad debt, and that person is for some reason not able to, or quits, even answering your calls because you're trying to get payment from them, and you've basically lost that customer. They're going to go other places, and you're thinking of it as, hey, you know what, I don't want to deal with them anyway, so you end up sending it to a collection company. Well, here's the thing with the collection company. They're going to take 40% of your profit, so you actually, the deal's a wash anyway. And what they're going to do is they're going to try and work with the person to be able to allow payment of at least a portion of it, okay? And they sometimes will do that by either discounting it or setting them up on payments. Especially if you work with a collection attorney, they're gonna try and set them up on payments with interest. So you want to be able to do the exact same thing, but keep it all in-house so that you're able to make the profit. And this is where the account rollover comes in. Let's say that you do have someone that owes you money, and you have put it on contract, which you have to do that. Every small business needs to have a contract. It's priority one, and all a contract is to keep both parties honest. If honesty is a handshake, then you should feel completely fine to be able to handshake and sign on the dotted line, because in that agreement, both parties understand exactly what's going on. So, dealing with account rollover. Basically what account rollover is it makes it possible for you to start financing them without calling them and getting permission to do so. So let me explain it this way. Auto repair industry is one of the worst. They're in the worst scenario. And they're a perfect example. So what happens with an auto repair place? You go in, you get your oil changed, little things, brake pads, that sort of thing. Then all of a sudden, a major problem happens. Now that auto repair place has basically a few options that they can do. Either they can say, no, we won't do the work, which means that they'll go somewhere else and try and get the work done. Two, they do the work but can't get paid on it, so they end up keeping the vehicle, and now they have a client that's upset because the car repair was way too much what they thought, and now you're holding their vehicle ransom, and they're driving the bus to work to pay for a car that's in the shop, and it creates bad feelings across the board. The other way is the auto repair company says, well, you're a good client, I know that you'll pay, so here's your car, please pay us as soon as you can, and then you never see them again because the client feels guilty that they don't have the funds to be able to come up with $3,000 to pay the auto repair company. Well, what the account rollover does is it resolves that completely. And this is how it works. If you're doing cash sales and that's it, and let's say that you're doing a deposit payment at completion, half down, half on completion, or you're like an auto repair place where you do it and then you realize that you can't get paid. Well, receiving money through their bank account is the best way to get paid, and it's the safest way to get paid. Let me just explain it this way. I was just talking with a client today that they did work for 6 months for someone on their product or their service. And they did it month after month, and they got paid month after month on the work that was done. Well, the final payment needed to go through with a credit card, and when they tried to do it, the card was declined. This customer ended up calling the credit card and having everything that they had received wiped back into into that person's account. So in other words, the company got zero. The credit card said, oh, we consider this a fraudulent action because this is what the client had said, and so now we're taking back all the funds over the last 6 months. So all that money was taken out of their account, just like that. Now with a bank account, that is very, very difficult to do because you're dealing with cash. But here's the benefit of here's the real key and benefit to account rollover. Someone ends up, you're not able to get full payment out of someone, and now you're in the collection process. You're trying to call to get payment, to get this money, and it's $2,000-$3,000, well, or even more. And what's happening, whether it's an individual or a business, what's happened is now you're in the process of a couple of things that could happen. One is that the client starts rethinking the cost, and that usually is because they can't pay. So in other words, subconsciously they're like, oh, well, the work wasn't worth it. Oh, there was these issues, and so now I'm not gonna pay. And really the underlying thing is they didn't have the funds to be able to do it in the first place, okay? The other thing that happens is they feel guilty, so they never answer the phone, and you're trying to collect this large amount from them. What an account rollover is it goes from a cash-based account to a line of credit. So basically what happens is according to the contract, you make it so that whatever the balance is becomes a part of the line of credit that they now have. And with that line of credit, it is already set up to where it's a minimum monthly payment with interest and auto withdrawal according to our system. You can set it up however you want to, but you want to make it sure it's an auto withdrawal. So think about it this way with the auto repair. Okay, the work gets done, they give the vehicle, the person can't pay. You've already got a deposit check that gives you their account and routing number, and according to the contract that they signed, they're now a client of yours, and as a client, any job that you do for them automatically revolves into a line of credit if they are not able to pay. So they get their car back, they give you a check that bounces, okay? Let's say that they do it that way, or they give you a credit card that declined. Hopefully you got a bank account information. At that point, the account turns into a revolving line of credit that is completely maxed out, and that amount now can earn interest, and it has a minimum monthly payment already put into the contract. So imagine the auto repair place now, instead of sending that amount to collection, losing 40% of it, not making any profit on that job, hassling about it, and then losing that client, which is only a client that was in a bad situation. Do you know what I mean? Most people are just in a bad situation. It isn't that they don't want to pay, it's that they can't. And as soon as they can't, if there's force against them, they justify. So your goal is to get rid of that emotion involved. What happens? Account rolls over, minimum monthly payment comes out, you're able to call the client, leave a message even. Say, hey, this is so-and-so from Joe's Auto Repair or whatever business. We wanted to let you know that your payment bounced, your payment at completion bounced or whatever, but don't worry, according to the contract that you signed, it now has rolled over into a line of credit with our company. Minimum monthly payment is this, which will be an auto withdrawal that you'll see coming out of your account. Come in, get your oil changed, it's all right, everything is good. Now you have a client that you're not only going to get completely paid on, but you're also keeping that client. And that's the ultimate goal, is keeping the client, because you're going to make a whole lot more money that way. You've got a client that will probably stay with you forever because of how you treated them in a hard circumstance. Now let me kind of explain it this way when it deals with collections. I had one client that bounced payments numerous times on me, and I didn't care. The reason why was because of the way the contract was set up. It kept going. So bounce payment fees, auto withdrawal the next month. Do you know what I mean? Talking to them, that whole process that we actually teach on the collection side. And in the end, the contract ended up going longer, and I made an additional roughly $3,000 in interest on it. Well, going back after they had paid for this equipment and talking with them, we just got talking about it and realized that through our conversation that the times that he bounced payments, in other words, the times that were difficult, that I could have been like anybody else and said, no, I want payment now. You've got to pay the whole thing now. You know what I mean? If I would have been that type of person, repoed the equipment or whatever, gone through that whole hassle, instead of just letting it go its course and helping them during their hard time, it wouldn't have gone as well. And I made a lot more money on it, like I said, and come to find out the times that they had bounced payments was when he got married, bought a house, had children, and medical issues, which are, every one of them is a major, major change in a person's life. And if you're able to work with clients past and through those situations, you are actually going to have, like I said, clients for life, clients that trust you, clients that are there for you, clients that refer. So this is the account rollover. So when you think about it, it is being able to take an existing account that's a cash account that has a balance, being able to automatically change it over into a revolving line of credit that has been maxed out and has already set up a specific interest rate, a specific minimum monthly payment, already set up in the contract, so that when you call them, you're able to tell them that process. Hey, it's okay. According to your contract, it is now rolled over into a line of credit with us with a minimum monthly payment of this, and so you can come in, you can still get work done, or whatever type of business it is. This for me has been able to make it so that I can keep clients forever. So remember, set it up to where it's an account rollover. Majority of businesses will want to do that. It's a huge benefit. It's a huge way to keep clients. And I'm excited to teach you the other, which is the full 50 and upsell. This one, though, is really, really key to keeping clients.